Hi, I'm Olga and welcome to my kitchen. Today we are making a basic protein bread. It's a bread that is grain-free, it is low in carbs, it is high in protein and has a lot of good nutrition. For example, it has a lot of calcium and some potassium in it as well. I have invented this recipe many years ago when I started my grain-free journey for health reasons. And even though recently I have been introducing some of the gluten-free grains back into my diet, but this recipe is still my favorite, and because it's so easy to make, it's so satisfying. I know how long I will stay full after eating this protein bread, so I still love it. I've been modifying this recipe for years as well. It started out as completely different recipe. I believe I still have on my Instagram my original recipes, which maybe one day I will remake here for YouTube as well. But right now it's quite simple. I focus on protein here, and I focus on the gut health. Why is it important for gut health? Now I'm focusing on making fermented foods to improve my gut flora, and that's why I'm reintroducing the grains into my diet as well, for the sake of feeding the good microbiome in my body. And this recipe contains some arrowroot starch, which is a grain-free flour, but it's a very beneficial starch to feed the bacteria in our guts, to make them multiply and to do good things for us. I call this bread basic because it's kind of like a basic recipe with absolutely minimal ingredients, but you can add so many things to it. I may share different recipes later here. I will put them in the playlist under protein bread. But you can make it sweet by adding it sweet on a low carb or honey maple syrup, whatever you choose. You can add a variety of seeds to this bread, pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, or anything that comes to mind, and add some more nutrition. Chia would be good here, flax seeds would be good here, and you can add some herbs to it and make it taste like an Italian bread. This bread is great, actually. Speaking of Italian bread, sometimes when we go out to restaurants, I bring with me this kind of bread, a few slices in a Ziploc bag, and I would in the restaurant use it to replace the bread or starches that they serve you. For example, it's good to dip it into the oil or put some butter on it in the restaurant, so you don't feel like you are excluded from that part of the meal. And so it's great for traveling. I prepare myself some sandwiches when I'm traveling with this bread. You can put anything you want, from peanut butter in there and jam to I use it in the breakfast for salmon. You can put cold cuts, cheese, many opportunities with this bread. I'm going to share some variations and some recipes here on the channel, so make sure to check the playlist once in a while. For this recipe we need number one, for protein we're going to use 5 eggs and a cup of cottage cheese. I use the low-fat cottage cheese. For the flour we're going to use almond flour, blanched almond flour, and arrowroot starch. We need some baking soda and apple cider vinegar to make the bread fluffy. And we need a few spices. Not all the spices need to be used at once. It's up to you, but today I'm going to use cumin and sesame seeds on top. But you can also add like herbs to make it an herb bread. You can use bagel seasoning on top instead of just sesame seeds. Many options here. And as for the equipment, you need an oven. You need a cookie sheet covered with parchment paper for ease of cleaning, and this way we avoid using oils in the recipe. And you also need the mixing bowl and a few measuring spoons and cups and a spatula. We're going to start by preheating the oven to 375 degrees. I use convection bake on my oven. Start. I'm going to start by breaking the eggs. 5 eggs we need for this recipe. This is one of the sources of protein in here. I use organic eggs, but any eggs will do here. All right, need to wipe my hands. And now I'm going to add 1 cup of cottage cheese. I use low-fat cottage cheese because I'm trying to keep fat content in my diet low now. But you can use regular cottage cheese, it doesn't matter. So this is half a cup, so I'm going to use 2 of these. There you go. A lot of the times when I'm not cooking for the camera, I would not even use measuring cups. Actually, no, I do use it for flour, always use measuring cups, but for the rest of the stuff I just eyeball it. Now we're going to use 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're gonna activate it with apple cider vinegar. I use about a tablespoon. Again, as I said, that I don't really use measuring spoons too much. When I can avoid it, I try to keep things simple and quick, but for the sake of the recipe, I will use a tablespoon. You know what? I'll use 2 tablespoons because I usually always add a little bit more to this recipe than whatever I poured with 1 tablespoon. And here I'm also gonna use cumin. I'm gonna use a dry tablespoon. I use about a tablespoon of cumin. I literally was just listening to the book by Dr. Michael McGregor on the diet tips, and he was mentioning cumin there as there were studies done that it really aids with weight loss with people. So, and I've been using cumin in my bread for many years. I love cumin because it's not a real bread like in you know, that people are used to. But I feel that cumin makes it taste more like bread, in my opinion. So that's why I add cumin. But again, it's just a spice that you can skip if you don't like the taste of it. When I was talking about the equipment, I forgot to take out a hand blender. Of course, you need some kind of blender to mix all the ingredients. So you need to blend everything until you don't see any more pieces of cottage cheese and it's all well blended, and this is what it looks like before you add the flour to the this dough. This is the texture of it. Now we're gonna add almond flour. 2 cups of almond flour, has to be blanched almond flour. I was disappointed to find out that in Europe, apparently, my parents live in France, almond flour is extremely expensive. My mom wanted to order some from Amazon, and a bag like this was costing 60 euros or something like that. It was a ridiculous price that is not affordable to buy. Thankfully, in United States, you can buy almond flour from Costco for, I think it's around $12 right now for this bag. So I'm thankful for that because I use almond flour a lot in my breads. And next ingredient is arrowroot starch. Not too long ago in this recipe, I used to use also coconut flour. But recently I started to use more carbs in my diet, and I ran out of coconut flour. And I figured that why not to try just to add more arrowroot starch. And I used to use 1/4 of a cup of coconut flour and 1/4 of a cup of arrowroot flour. And I decided to replace coconut flour with just more arrowroot flour, and it turned out beautiful. I really like the result of it. And yes, it is higher in carbs this way, but it also higher in the starches that are good for the gut health. And since my channel is about the health of your gut and all the fermented foods, this is the food, starch foods. Starchy flours are the foods for your bacteria in the gut, and you need to feed them to for your bacteria to flourish. So arrowroot flour it is for now. I may try different recipes later, maybe with rice and other flours, but for now this works for me. Now I'm just gonna blend. So this is the finished dough, the texture of it. Just wanted to show you so you know what to expect. So now all I have to do is just pour the dough onto the parchment paper and sprinkle it with sesame seeds. I like to clean off every piece of dough. That's why I like to use a silicone spoon. It helps me to clean it off a little bit more. Alright, sorry for the noise. Now I use cookie sheet here because it makes the dough thin and it cooks faster this way. I used to make my breads in a bread pan, but it was taking 45 minutes to cook, and you still had very small surface of crust on it, so I had to slice it and toast it. Here I get a large surface for the crust, and you get a lot of crust on your bread, which that's what you like, and this bread actually tastes really good with this crust. Arrowroot starch makes it crispy. All right, and now I'm just gonna spread it from corner to corner as far as I can, so it's thin and nice. So I'm spreading it all the way as far as I can, and I try to make it as even as I can. Some parts may end up a little bit thicker, but that's what makes it interesting, kind of like more real bread. Some parts are thicker, even if you buy like regular bread in the store, some parts of it are thinner, some parts are thicker. It's part of it. Now we just need to put sesame seeds and we're done. It goes in the oven. Toasted sesame seeds. I'm just gonna sprinkle it. And I'm gonna shake it just a little bit so these sesame seeds get stuck in the dough and they don't pop off when you start eating the bread. And it goes in the oven. Just as simple as that. I put it on the middle rack and I put the timer on for 20 minutes. Now we wait 20 minutes and the bread is ready. Just checking on my bread. I have 2 minutes left on the timer. I just wanted to mention that all ovens are different. I have an electric oven and it's a convection oven. So I figured already with experience that 20 minutes is a perfect timing for it. But first time you're making it, start with 18 minutes and go from there. Keep checking on your bread. There you go, fresh out of the oven. How appetizing does this look? It needs to cool down a few minutes before I can show you the rest of it. I'm going to be using a small serrated knife to cut it. You can also use a pizza cutter or just any knife. And we need to split this bread into 24 squares. You can cut it in any amount of slices you want, but I calculated that one serving size is about 1/24 of this pie. So to get the claimed amount of calories and all the other macronutrients, you need to cut it into 24 slices. So I would cut it in half first this way, because I'm gonna cut it into 6 strips this way. Of course, they're not gonna be exactly even. It all evens out in the end, the calories. And then we're gonna cut 4 strips this way lengthwise. So I split it in half. And then again in half. So I just cut the bread into squares and it makes squares like this. It's still a little bit on the hot side, but here it is. See, it's a decent size. Usually I eat about 2 of them for breakfast, sometimes 3 if I'm hungry. There you go. According to artificial intelligence, this bread, if you slice it into 24 somewhat even squares, will have 72 calories per serving. Serving is about a square like this. And it has 4.4 grams of protein, 4.4 grams of fat, and 4.2 grams of carbohydrates. It does not have much fiber, 1.1 grams, but it contains 23 milligrams of calcium and 54 milligrams of potassium, which is pretty good, especially if you are on a low-carb diet. So I really hope that you will try this recipe, and I hope that you will like it. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know what you ended up adding to this bread to make it taste more delicious. And if you have any questions, anything I forgot to mention, I would love to hear from you. And please don't forget to click a like to this video and subscribe to my channel for more good food recipes. So I just finished making the video for the recipe, and I'm having a little snack here with a cup of tea and this protein bread with some fig jam. Actually, figs are in season now, and I make a jam with it by just cutting figs and a little bit of monk fruit, like a tablespoon or so, and I cook it for like 15 minutes to dehydrate them a little bit, and this way I preserve the figs, and I can enjoy my bread this way. So here I have some of this protein bread. I toasted it, and now I'm gonna split each slice in half and put a little bit of salmon in there. That's gonna be my breakfast, protein filled and delicious. So here I split each slice in half, and you see these brown dots here. This is actually the Italian herbs that I added to the dough, just to make it taste a little bit different. So here I made myself a few sandwiches. You can put cheese in here, cold cuts, whatever you want. You can put peanut butter and jam or some other butters in there. They will taste delicious. And I left one slice actually without salmon. I'm gonna have it with yogurt, and I'm also gonna share some with my bagel here. Right, guys? She loves my bread as well. Sky loves my bread.